Now on BBC One, before the next programme, we cross to Moira Stewart in the newsroom for a news report.
Within the past few minutes, the Queen Mother left Aberdeen Royal Infirmary. The Queen Mother spent 3 nights at the hospital. She underwent an hour-long operation on Thursday to remove a piece of food that had become lodged in her throat.
I'm going to ask her how she is.
Doctors were happy with her condition yesterday, but given her age of 92, they decided to keep her in an extra night as a precaution. Prince Andrew visited her in hospital yesterday. She is now expected to return to Balmoral. As she left the hospital, she told well-wishers she was feeling very well. That's it for now. Our next scheduled news is at 1 o'clock.
Now on BBC One, we join Clive Mason for this week's See Here.
Deaf dancer Amnon Damti from Israel is currently touring England with his prize-winning show, 2 Worlds. We'll be catching up with Amnon and his dancer wife Jill later in the programme. I'll be following in the footsteps of Robin Hood all the way to Nottingham. We'll be reporting on the first ever helpline for deaf victims of crime. But first, here's Jack with some good news for deaf users of Citizens Advice Bureau.
Thanks, Clive. There are over 1,200 Citizens Advice Bureaus up and down the country offering free, impartial advice to thousands of people every year. People turn to the local CIB for help on a wide range of everyday and sometimes not so everyday problems. Mortgage arrears, debt, employment troubles, disputes with neighbours and much more. There are a number of benefits that people might be eligible for, and the CIB can guide you around the benefits maze. But if you're deaf, how do you get access to all this information? We contacted the National Office of CIB, and I went along to meet the Equal Opportunity Officer, Sarah Roloffs. How do you see your role as the first Equal Opportunity Officer for the CIBs?
My role has been to develop equal opportunities policies for a range of people who experience discrimination in our society, and then to encourage the practical implementation of those policies throughout our service, and in particular to recommend good practice examples to our Bureau around the country.
Well, what are the main issues and the main kind of problems that you deal with in this job?
The main problems are that we have identified that there are a number of groups of people who face discrimination in society: black people, ethnic minorities, disabled people, deaf people, who face discrimination, who are not yet using our service. They're not coming into our Bureau with the range of problems that other people are coming into our Bureau.
Now, I know that you've become deaf yourself recently. Has this affected your attitude to the job and to deaf people in any way?
It certainly means that I do my job an awful lot better, and I realise now through my own personal experience of losing my hearing as a result of an illness and becoming deaf. I use 2 hearing aids. of how important particular service delivery issues are for deaf people. And I certainly feel very strongly about the provision of sign language interpreters for the deaf community.
Well, do you have any plans to improve comprehensive access provision for deaf people?
We're certainly extending them, and I'm very pleased about that. We, as yet, in my view, have too few bureaux with good facilities for deaf people. We recommend a number of positive action steps that people can take, such as ensuring that they have induction loop systems in their bureau, such as having mini-com systems in bureau, and also access to sign language interpreters. We feel that the access to sign language interpreters is particularly important, and as I go round the service, visiting bureau and visiting our area offices, these are the steps that I very strongly recommend in order that we can see more deaf people making use of our service.
It's good to know that the needs of deaf people are being taken so seriously. But how well does it work on the ground? We dropped in on the local CIB in Luton, Bedfordshire, and met one of their new clients, Reg Oaten.
Well, I was born in 1939, just before the war started. And when I was a baby, I could hear. And then eventually I became deaf. And that's me as a baby when I could hear. And these are photographs of me as I grew up and went to school. And then the doctors told my mother that my deafness was caused through the war, the aircraft, definitely through the war. Then I started work. I did lots of different jobs. And then I was working as an HGV fitter for many years, and I was very happy doing that. But then the firm closed down. And now I'm on the dole. No money, of course. And I have been for 11 months now. And then down at the Deaf Club, the Citizens Advice Bureau people came down and gave us a talk. And that was really interesting. I learned a great deal about dole money and so on.
Some time ago, I was invited to do a talk at the local social centre for deaf people. It was a Friday evening and the centre was quite full and everybody was having a drink and chatting away. The only problem was they were all signing and I can't sign myself. And so I couldn't even say hello to anybody. I couldn't communicate with anybody at all, and it was an extremely frustrating experience. And I came back to the bureau and I realised at that point that's how a deaf person must feel when they're sitting in our waiting room. That they can't communicate, they can't talk to anybody, and even indeed in the interview room. So it was then we decided to work with the local social services signing team and interpretation service to try and develop our service here for deaf people. Hello, Reg. How can we help you today?
I want help about my dole money. It's soon going to run out. I've been having it for 11 months. I've got 1 month left. Once that's over, I'll get no more money.
I've got some information for you. This information item tells us what the income support regulations are. And it tells us that because your wife is working full-time, that's over 16 hours a week, you're not entitled to claim income support. However, there may be some other benefits we can look at for you. We can look at housing benefits, get some help with your rent, and we can also check council tax benefit, see if you can get some help with your council tax. Well, Reg, we've done the calculations for housing benefit and council tax benefit, and it looks like you're going to be entitled. So what we'll do is we'll make you an appointment for 4 weeks' time when your unemployment benefit runs out. And then we can fill in the forms to claim the two benefits.
Okay, thank you.
Well, it's been nice to see you again, Reg. And
Thanks very much for your help.
I'll see you again in 4 weeks.
When I've had an interpreter there with me, I feel much better, much more confident about what I'm doing. I got more help this way too. I think without, I'd have been really upset and frustrated, I think. I mean, that sort of help really makes me, feel satisfied now.
Well, we know already that there's a text phone at Nottingham CIB, as well as an interpreter service. In London, both Woolwich and Wandsworth CIBs provide interpreter services. Obviously, there's a need for more. Let's hope that the service develops and expands. And now, back to Clive.
The crime wave seems to be endless, doesn't it? Day after day, we read of more and more horrific crimes. But what about the victims of that crime wave? What happens to them? For many, even everyday crimes like a burglary can have a very traumatic effect. The Victims Helpline has been running since 1986, specifically to help the victims of crime. It's a 24-hour, free and totally confidential service. Callers often feel very isolated and unable to share their anxieties with family and friends. They can share them, though, with the trained counsellor at the other end of the helpline. Last month, this service was extended to the deaf community, as the charity had a text phone installed. Michael Damas is one of the coordinators of the project. Hello, Michael.
Hello, Clive.
Now, do many people use the Victims Helpline?
Yes, we had a total of 1,752 calls last year, but the problem was that we weren't getting calls from deaf people who, of course, are also victims of crime.
So how are you getting around that problem?
Right.
I mean, do you know if there are many deaf victims of crime?
I have been out to give talks to lots of groups and was upset, if you like, when I was told by deaf people that they've been suffering crimes for a long time and did not get any sort of emotional support from any organization. They mentioned that their victims' support schemes do not cater for deaf people, hence we took it upon ourselves to start something and make sure that deaf victims of crime could get help and support as soon as they suffered a crime.
Now, what kind of training do you give to your counsellors?
We offer the hearing volunteers deaf awareness training, while we offer deaf volunteers counseling skills training.
So what are your plans for the future, Michael?
We do offer now face-to-face counseling as a natural progression from telephone counseling. We intend to do the same with Minicom service, learn and be able to offer sign language face-to-face to deaf victims of crime as a natural progression from Minicom use.
Michael, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks for having me.
If you'd like to ring for free confidential help, the Victims Helpline new text phone number is 071 613 3453. That's 071 613 3453.
We were recently contacted by the Robin Hood Centre in Nottingham, a major tourist attraction of the city. With the summer holidays not far away, they wanted us to alert viewers to their new service. As a direct response to the RNID's Louder Than Words campaign, the centre's tour guide has learnt some sign language. Deaf children can now enjoy a magical tour of Robin Hood country. Clive couldn't resist the opportunity to meet Robin Hood.
You must know about Robin Hood. Yes, of course you do. He really was famous with his great longbow and his skill at archery. And Sherwood Forest and all that. And of course his arch enemy, the Sheriff of Nottingham. But interestingly enough, no one actually knows whether all the stories about him are true. And there's been some research, but they can't prove whether he existed or not, because it was 700 years ago, and with all that was going on then, it's difficult to prove. Hang on. I could swear I saw Robin Hood then. No, must be my imagination.
Robin Hood, riding through the glen. Robin Hood, with his band of men. Feared by the bad, loved by the good. Robin Hood, Robin Hood, Robin Hood. He called the greatest archers to a tavern on the green. They vowed to help the people of the king. They handled all the trouble on the English country scene and still found plenty of time to sing. Robin Hood, riding through the glen. Robin Hood, with his band of men. Feared by the bad, loved by the good. Robin Hood, Robin Hood, Robin Hood. He came to Sherwood Forest with a feather in his cap, a fighter never looking for a fight. His bow was always ready and he kept his arrows sharp. He used them to fight for what was right. Robin Hood, riding through.
Look.
Robin Hood, with his band of men. Feared by the bad, loved by the good.
Oh, what?
What's this?
What's this?
Look at this stuff.
Wow.
How come? You're all the same, aren't you?
What's this? Hat and the... Welcome to the tales of Robin Hood. We're going back in time to the year 1190. Times were very hard and taxes were very high. The people were always thin and hungry. Come with us on the tour. Come on. Have a seat. Now we're underneath the roads of Nottingham in a secret tavern where the friends of Robin Hood would always meet. But you must be quiet, it's very dangerous. Many soldiers walk above us on the roads.
Oh,
You hungry?
Really hungry.
Are you?
We need
You are, aren't
something
you?
to eat.
Right. Well, I think we need to go and steal something from the rich people like this, look. We can get some food and get something to eat, all right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I am Guy of Gisborne, and my master the sheriff.
Oh,
Oh
God.
dear, it's going to catch us. We need to escape, don't we? Find Robin Hood. Come on, now, this way, quick. Come on.
You are travellers, I presume. My men bring more of you in here.
Oh.
What am I to do? What could I do but punish you? Punish you with all the severity of the law at my command.
Oh, gosh, I'm really
Oh dear, we're in the dungeons. Oh, don't be frightened, don't worry.
I'm scared, really scared.
Don't worry, it's all right.
Guards! Seize them! Take them to the dungeon!
Come on.
Now, come on, quick, this way.
Oh, God.
Come on, it's time to escape. We'll go to the world of Robin Hood, deep into the forest. Come along, quickly, come on.
Welcome, travellers. Come, enter and live again the tales of Robin Hood.
Look.
But the animal's there, it's a wolf, isn't it?
There, they're drinking.
Yeah, drinking. It's the same as that one over there.
That's right. It is.
We nearly got caught in there, you know. We only just managed to escape. Right, come on, out you go. Thank you. Great, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
No problem, it was a pleasure.
Oh! Ah, what's that?
We all got our own clothes back, look.
Hmm.
I thought we saw Robin Hood, you know, did we?
I think so.
Maybe it was just a dream. Or never mind, come on, let's go home.
They look really good. The children obviously enjoyed themselves. Did you?
They did, and I did too, yes. It was almost like experiencing those times, you know, actually being there, it seemed. And it really was interesting, it was good.
And having a communicator's good.
Yes, she's actually stage 1, she's past that, and now she's aiming for stage 2, working for that. And she communicates quite well, not a brilliant BSL user, obviously, but she's understandable, she's very good.
Now, my boys are 10 and 12. Do you think they'd enjoy that?
Oh, I'm sure they would, yes.
Me too. But if you are planning a visit, it's worth getting in touch with the centre first, just to make sure that Leslie, the communicator, will be there to bring alive the tales of Robin Hood. Now, their address is Robin Hood Centre, 30 to 38 Maid Marian Way, Nottingham, NG1 6GF. That's Robin Hood Centre, 30 to 38 Maid Marian Way, Nottingham, NG1 6GF.
Well, that really was a wonderful dance, absolutely fascinating. Well done, both of you. Now, the question is, although it's a fascinating dance, what's the story behind it?
I grew up in an institution for the deaf from the age of 5, and it was very closed. I felt closed in. When I was in the institution in Jerusalem, I felt that I wanted to fly like a bird. I dreamt of being free. And then when I came to this dream, to the realization, I saw it was not exactly the way I thought it would be. The outside world was different. So I needed the stability of the ground. That's what the dance is about.
Wow.
Wow.
Now, you're a deaf person, so obviously you can't hear the music. So how is your dance choreographed? How do you get the timing absolutely right?
I need to work and rehearse together with someone, with a hearing person that can help me to realize the world, the music. Sometimes in the past I looked for music and Jill helped me find the music. I felt it. I felt the music and thought, okay, this was suitable. We talked about it and it fit.
Now, when you just said that you felt the music, now obviously it's a different case when you're actually dancing, you can't feel it. So how do you sense the music when you're actually dancing?
First of all, there's the wooden floor that I can feel the vibration, and I can feel, when the tape is on the wooden floor, I can feel the vibration, or I get signals from a hearing person from looking at each other, watching each other, or by touching.
Now, you're currently touring the country, you're giving performances, and you're also giving workshops for deaf children. How's it going?
We came from Israel by the British Arts Foundation, and the tour is quite successful. We've been all around. It's very interesting to me. We were in the north in Manchester. We gave a workshop for the deaf and very, very disabled, blind and crippled. It was a different experience. I danced for them, and I brought up some of the students. One was very crippled, could hardly walk, and very tense. And I showed him. He copied me. He watched me doing the kangaroo, and he leaped, and the whole audience was so excited. And afterwards they told us that he had never leaped with 2 legs, so it was very interesting.
Wonderful, that's great, good. Well, I wish you every success with the rest of your tour. I hope it goes very well for you. Thank you very much for coming here today. Thank you. Thank you. Well, that's all we've got time for this week. But do join us next week for an international show.